Francis, Lonzo Ball gets lots of mentions. Do you agree?
Twitter mentions?
Not just, there's mentions in the mainstream media headlines is what 538's article is. He's the most mentioned prospect in the last 5 years. But my question is, screw that, throw out the window, let's go back 15 years. Is he a more mentioned prodigy than LeBron James? No. And the answer is yes.
No.
And here's why.
No.
Oh, it's yes.
No.
If by sheer volume, if we're doing this by sheer volume of like talk, LeBron James, like AOL Instant Messenger was the only way to communicate with your friends online. There was no social media, there was no Twitter. Facebook wasn't even really a thing yet. I don't think it was even created yet. Like, and LeBron wasn't getting, circled around the MySpace that much. Lonzo, I think, does have more mentions, but I don't think he's as hyped as LeBron was. LeBron was the savior, was going to raise a city. Is the opposite, was going to grow a city in Cleveland and build them a championship, and he did that just with a 4-year vacation in Miami for a little bit of time.
Here's my debunking of like the myth that because social media is around that therefore everyone knows things a little bit more. I think that it just means that people have new ways of absorbing it. I think more people across the world would know more of Lonzo Ball. That probably is the case. I'm just saying that back then, like, do you think people just didn't get information? Like, yes. Of course, no.
Yes.
I think newspapers were a big thing, magazines. LeBron James was plastered across every magazine.
Illustrated, Ball's Life, yeah.
I think back then, people would have still known about LeBron James. I don't think it's because so much of social media. I think it's because Lonzo Ball has a dad that captures as much headlines as he does, which kind of catapults him into that position more so than not. But I completely agree with the point that, no, like, he's not hyped up anywhere near the way LeBron James was. Like, I remember watching
Sky Sports.
No, it wasn't Sky Sports. I think
time for basketball.
It was My Wife and Kids. Do you remember that show?
With Damon Wayans.
Damon Wayans.
Yeah, it's a great show.
And I think it was there was a mention in it about LeBron James, and I remember him mentioning it. So like, I think I went on my really slow, horrendously powered internet, and it took me a while, but I was like researching LeBron James. I wanted to know who this guy was that he wanted to meet so bad.
You ever play the Oregon Trail?
No, what's that?
It's a game where you like go across the country, settlers.
As LeBron James?
No, that's LeBron James. It's like Windows 98. So it's like that slow power internet is what I think about is the Oregon Trail. You almost always die of, is it dysentery? Is that how you pronounce it? Dysentery.
Whilst we're on the tangent of games and the old things you had to do with games, remember Metal Gear Solid where you have to change the disc?
Metal Gear Solid.
Like, was there ever a game that had more pressure on it than if you had to change the disc and you couldn't find it?
Right, but also Resident Evil 4, when it first came out for like PlayStation, there was 2 discs.
Yeah.
2 discs.
And the only way to beat the crazy, what's his name? You know how you beat the villain Metal Gear Solid? The guy who was a psychic. You had to save it on your memory card or something like that and then change the memory cards. They were way ahead of the generation. They were living in 2014 at the year of 1994.
But Metal Gear also was like, it's a cutscene video game. Like, I'm playing The Witcher right now, which is very similar in the way that like there's a ton of cutscenes.
Yeah.
It's more like with the dialogue you choose, although Metal Gear Solid was more linear. Like, it was a movie. And
it could have been. I wanted it to be made into a movie. Occasionally. And then they made Max Payne into one instead, and it was awful.
Max Payne was not a good movie.
I loved the game, but the movie was garbage. And it was a good cast as well. Mark Wahlberg, right?
Back to Lonzo, real quick, and back to LeBron. So here's 2 elements for you. Lonzo's mentions are through the roof, according to 538. 538, who good for sports, not so good for predicting anything else. As they said, there was like a 173% chance that Francis would be on time today, and he wasn't. So it's amazing, actually. Mainstream online American media mentions for top 5 picks from May 1st to July 30th of each rookie's draft year. So Simmons got more, which actually attests to your point, but Lonzo's been more frequently. Like in the peak of Ben Simmons, he got more, but in overall arc, Lonzo was able to beat him, especially in May and June.
Yeah.
We have one more, includes the amount of mentions. It's 702, which, again, it's like a mention in a headline or a story about them. It doesn't include like the name, not like how they're trying to track NBA All-Star votes.
Yeah.
Like hashtag NBA vote Damian Lillard ... think he's garbage. They'll be like, all right, it's a vote for Damian Lillard. Yeah. Double the amount of Markelle, well, not double the amount, a little bit more than Markelle Fultz, double the amount of Andrew Wiggins pretty much though, and Ben and Jahil, and then some of the names aren't as, it's like Otto Porter was never going to be,
Joel Embiid.
Like Dante Exum was never going to be the guy who was mentioned more than LeBron James. But those top 5 names have some weight. Top 7 names have some weight. New York Times Friday crossword. 8 down. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 letters. Teammate of Hammer and Hank in 22 All-Star games with the. It's not Ryan Sandberg. It's a baseball player.
Right, so Hammer and Hank are players and plays on what team?
Hank Aaron was a Brewer. Hank Aaron was.
Oh no, is this baseball?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I am just going to name a name and hopefully from the phone book and it's in it. Well, how many letters?
9. So it's not Ryan Sandberg. Just make up a name. All right, in the comment section below, give me the teammate of Hammer and Hank.
Whitehead.
Possibly. In 22 All-Star games with the. I'm giving you all the sports clues in the New York Times crossword. I've gotten 4 of these.
Grab is definitely the one.
Actually, I'm sorry. I've gotten 3. I've gotten 2. Bart gave me 1, and Brett gave me the other. So I've gotten.
I just gave you grab.
2. Grab? Yeah, but we don't know if that's 100% though.
It is. It works 100% of the time.
4-letter word for seizure.